Good afternoon. And today we have a pleasure of interviewing Dr. Valerie Cacho. She is integrative sleep medicine doctor, triple board certified, and she specializes in sleep, especially for women. So, good afternoon, Valerie.
Hello, Dr. Maria. So glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
And I want to say thank you to our audience. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have trouble sleeping, today is a great chance for you to learn a lot of things. If you have trouble sleeping or you sleep next to the snoring partner, please click the like and share button. This way you can promote our channel and help actually your family and friends to spread the word of knowledge. If you medical professional just like us, please use our channel as a networking ground. This way together, dental and medical and other professionals, we can find all the puzzles of this dangerous disease of evolution. I like to present it that way, and hopefully to find the way to help our patients better, hopefully to find the cure. So I would like to introduce you Dr. Valerie, Dr. Val. She's very influential on Instagram to you. She is, again, triple certified professional in internal sleep and integrative medicine. And she's passionate about inspiring her patients to obtain optimal sleep health and wellness through integrative, holistic, and lifestyle medicine. She also founder of Sleep for Ria. That's an online educational program about sleep. And she highly sought speaker, writer. She wrote the book called Integrative Sleep Medicine, and you can find it on Amazon. Great book to find a lot of answers to the questions. And she also was the first sleep guide for Atleta Well for GAP. I find it fascinating. So again, a good afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. Maria.
I would like to start with a very important question for me personally. Why do sleep problems affect women more than men, and what to do about that?
Yeah, that's a great question and a loaded question. But really, to summarize it, is that women do a lot. And so, we're caretakers of our family. A lot of us work full time. Even if we don't work for a time, caring for our households full time. Maybe we have elderly parents that we take care of. So there's only so many hours in the day, and we tend to shortchange ourselves on sleep. Also, women have higher rates of anxiety and depression, and there's a bidirectional relationship between mental health and sleep. Women also undergo monthly periods, which impact their sleep. And also, as we go through perimenopause and menopause, hormonal fluctuations can also lead to changes in our sleep. So women are complex and beautiful in so many ways, and it's just not as straightforward as treating a man who has sleep issues.
Thank you. That's such a great explanation. I would like, I highly recommend our listeners to check your website and to check your social media channels. And you can find the link underneath the interview about that. But on your sites, and you're channeling that a lot, you emphasize a lot on gastrointestinal health and
Mhm.
connecting that with the sleep quality. Can you please talk about that connection?
Yeah, well, what we eat is so important for the quality of sleep we get. What do I mean by that? Well, for gut health, you take a look about the best foods for your body are things that come from the earth. So plants, things with high fiber. And when you do sleep studies, actually put people in the lab who eat more plant-based foods, less saturated fats, as opposed to processed foods and saturated fats from animal products. People who have more of that junk type food actually have more awakenings at night. So the quality of their sleep isn't as good. And they also even have less deep sleep. And that's really the restorative sleep. And additionally, on the other side is if you're not getting an adequate amount of sleep, it can impact the foods that you crave. So what can happen is there's hormones that control your metabolism and your appetite, ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin, think of like a gremlin, makes you want to eat a lot more. Leptin puts the brake on your appetite. So we've actually sleep-deprived college kids, and we've noticed that they tend to eat more of the simple carbohydrates, the processed foods. Their body craves it because not getting enough sleep, you get hungry. And you also have more time to eat. So those are important factors as well. What you eat affects the quality of sleep. And then if you don't get enough sleep, it affects the quality of food that you're eating.
I like how you said about the hormone. I never thought
Mhm.
about that connection. But
Yep.
I want to, I see sleep patients for
Mhm.
last 15 years. And, I change. I grew also
Mhm.
by, trying to help the people. And my question to you, it's a very common belief
Mhm.
what very overweight people cannot lose weight. Could you please
Yeah.
clarify where it's true or not, and discuss any integrative approach you use to address weight related sleep issues?
Yeah, that's a great question. And if there's a will, there's a way. And sometimes it's really you really need to go a little bit below the surface. Is it a will issue or is it a skill issue? Sometimes, you don't know what you don't know, and you're basically the sum of the people you're around. So if your friends or family are overweight or obese, certainly it could be harder to lose weight because those are the people who are impacting, how you're living your life. But I always believe that, with education, with the right support, with the right community, you certainly are able to lose weight. I actually had a patient that was able to lose like 60 pounds, and I asked him how he did it, and he actually told me it was very easy. He just stopped eating ice cream and sugar, which is pretty remarkable. I mean, some people can do that. I think probably it's a little bit easier for men to lose weight than women. But yeah, there are definitely ways to improve your sleep. I'm sorry, improve your weight, and one of them is to get better sleep. So actually, some of the research studies say if you get more than 6 hours, better even more than 7 hours, it's easier to maintain weight loss. And one of the biggest reasons we talked about those hormones and metabolism. But when you don't get enough sleep, it's also inflammatory for our body. So things like cortisol go up, insulin, the hormone that regulates our blood sugars, doesn't work as well. You can be insulin resistant. And when you don't get enough sleep, you're so tired. And so you see the drive through, it's so easy just to go through. Think about all the energy it takes to plan a healthy meal, go to the grocery store, cook it, cut all the vegetables, cook it, eat it, and then clean up afterwards. So when you're operating on low batteries or low energy and you see simple foods already prepared for you, typically they're not as healthy, you're more inclined to reach for them.
Yeah, that's a great answer. But I want to ask you, what do you think that fast food addictive? Is it has some addiction component,
Oh, for
or
sure.
it just yeah?
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely. I think I don't know if it was a study or something that I read online, but like McDonald's, for instance, has sugar in all their food. And when you're eating sugar, right? So I mean, sugar and salt, right? It's really like a dopamine hit to your brain. And so it makes you
wow.
want to like crave a little bit more. Yeah. So
No, no, for me,
definitely.
I'm from a different country.
Yeah.
We did not have it. That's why it's hard for me. I have to learn to understand. Now I want to ask you about that simple tip you talk about on your in your online, Instagram videos about hot shower before bed. I always look for practical tips I can recommend to our patients. So tell me, what science behind taking hot shower before bed, and why is that important?
Yeah, so from a physiologic standpoint, right, what happens when you sleep? Your metabolism slows down. So you really want to lower your core body temperature. And one way to do that is actually take a hot shower because it leads to vasodilatation of the periphery. And so it can lower your body temperature overall. Also a big fan of it because it can help relax you. Some people see it as a ritual when you're taking a warm shower, a hot shower. It's almost like washing off the junk from the day. And so that you can go to bed renewed and refreshed. So I think
No,
it's a multi-pronged approach.
that's a beautiful, beautiful. Can you tell me now? We get so much into, sleep practice, but I want to ask you general question: how
Mhm.
integrative sleep medicine differ from traditional approach to sleep disorders?
Yeah, so integrative medicine, the way I like to describe it is all the healing practices that can help someone along their health journey that we didn't learn in medical school. So honestly, a lot of it is nutrition, a lot of it is mind body practice, learning to partner with our patients, really spend active listening instead of interrupting them every 30 seconds. We learn about Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, energy medicine, supplements. And the way it works within my own traditional practice is I see a lot of folks who have insomnia. So difficulty falling asleep. And it certainly can be from an underlying sleep condition like obstructive sleep apnea or restless leg syndrome. But sometimes it's more matters of the heart, things like loneliness, things like broken relationships. Maybe they don't feel fulfilled, right? Or maybe they just have a hard time winding down. And so integrative therapies really help. I really love teaching my patients about guided meditation or clinical hypnotherapy. I can incorporate supplements because when you compare supplements versus sleeping pills, there's a lot less side effects and they can be just as efficacious. Yeah, so that's sort of simply how I include integrative medicine to my sleep practice. Traditional sleep medicine is, diagnose, test, and treat typically sleep apnea. If you are trained in cognitive behavioral therapy, that's approach. But a lot of doctors have so much, I say, don't have much time or don't have much training to do the insomnia work, and they refer to behavioral therapists. And I think one statistic, there's only 800 worldwide, and we take a look at how many people have insomnia. It's a lot, So
No, true,
a third of
true.
adults have difficulty with their sleeping, and yeah, it's a lot of people.
What I notice, with my patients who come to me for dental work, I notice I see sleep disorder breathing in the mouth in a second. I see that. And
Yeah.
I ask the patient, I try to start the conversation and I ask them, why, I noticed something with your sleep. Oh, you snore. And I just want from out of the curiosity, did your primary care physician educate you about it? Or why they didn't refer you to sleep specialist? Why is that? Please tell me, what's your opinion? Like we know from 10 patients we see, 2.5 or 2 of them would have sleep disorder issue and 87% of them non-diagnosed. And this is numbers, but
Yeah.
I see representation of them. It's so true. It's not just blind statistics. For
Yeah.
me, how I look at that, those 2.5 people, they drive. They're on the
Yeah.
road. They're like that.
Yeah.
So it's very important, to help them.
Yeah.
And tell me your opinion as integrative, primary care as well, integrative
Yeah.
specialist, why primary care not
Yeah.
doing it?
Not addressing it. Yeah. No, I have a lot of thoughts on this. And where do we begin? So, specifically, to answer your question, is medical school, they don't really talk much about sleep. So, I went to medical school. Oh, maybe actually, I thought I said 10 earlier, but it's actually closer to 15 years now. And I got maybe an hour, 2 hours of lecture about sleep. And sometimes it's really just talking about, sleep science, sleep stages, and then kids who sleepwalk and what to do about that. So, you don't know what you don't know. And the physicians that tend to refer to me for their sleep apnea patients, I'm pretty sure they have sleep apnea themselves. And so
I like what you put this
that
way.
certainly helps. Yeah. And I think another thing too is that the US culture, we are very much a work until you're dead. I sleep when I'm retired. Sacrifice your health for your sleep. A lot of people undersleep during the week and then try to make up for sleep on the weekend. So sleep isn't necessarily prioritized. And I'm so thankful for folks like yourself who really have platforms where we share this information. So I would say those are a big factors why doctors just don't know. They're not aware. They have so many other things to do in the primary care
Of
setting.
course.
It's not one of the core measures, right? You got to check your mammogram. You got to do your colonoscopy. Make sure you're not diabetic. So I think if there's government, I think if the government would promote that in a way, because if you take a look at improving sleep, it can make your blood pressure better. It can fix your diabetes, but it's not one of the core measures that we're supposed to check. So it sort of falls to the wayside. It's just not prioritized.
Yeah, no, thank you for mentioning that, because I want to bring to the point how you contribute to changing that with the social media. So
Yeah.
social media plays significant role in the healthcare, and how social media shaped your practice as integrative sleep medicine doctor, and what benefits and challenges has it presented?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I think thinking about this more, one of the real benefits of social media is connecting with folks like yourself, Maria. So, I do have a community of other, women sleep doctors, sleep coaches, neurologists and dentists that I have met online. And it's pretty fun how sometimes we can collaborate and spread out, really reliable, accurate information. I always caution people about who they follow on social media. Even if they're sort of self-proclaimed experts, some of the information that they may be providing may not be 100% accurate. So, something just to caution about, there's always the professional societies like the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. I think there's also an American Academy of Dental Sleep
Dental
Medicine.
sleep medicine, of course. I'm
Yeah.
a member of that American Academy of Dental Sleep Medicine. But in the same way, um, what I look at that, and that's topic to the social media involvement, and
Hmm.
that's how you trying to change it, and I'm trying to change it. What American Academy of Dental Sleep Medicine, one story. American Academy of Sleep Medicine, even though we used to have meetings almost in the same time, like a moon and the sun, much.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons, and I might understand, it's very hard to put everything on a plate and then it's become a house.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I think social media connect people
Yeah.
on more personal level, and people can generate that idea as a community and help each other.
Yeah.
Um, and that fact, what
Hmm.
87% of sleep
Yeah.
apnea patients not diagnosed and not treated, that means what being in isolation, medical world, dental world, it's not working. It's
Yeah.
clearly not working. And I always encourage people who I bring on my channel, what we're gonna collaborate, we're gonna do something together, and we help each other to help our patients. I think it's just so great with the social media, on a lot of issues. And in the same time, like we're talking about losing weight, that's a very critical issue. And
Hmm.
people who struggle with that, they understand if we brought that question, they're not alone. They're not
Hmm.
isolated.
Yeah, no, I agree on so many points there. Yeah, it creates synergy, it creates community, and it's a lot more supportive for patients. Yeah, and I think one of the other things too is I can only help folks where I'm licensed. As a medical doctor,
Exactly.
I can help people in Hawaii and
Yes.
California, but sometimes people reach out to me online in New York or even New Jersey, and I can say, hey, go see Dr. Maria or go see another colleague that I've met online. I trust her. She has reputable information. I think she can help you.
No, that's great. And my last question would be, it's a very practical question. So you talk a lot what integrative medicine incorporate botanicals and supplement
Mm.
into the treatment plans. Can you provide us some examples how this natural remedy um, can help and how a patient can safely incorporate them in a routine? I totally understand it has to be always after the blood work and consultation with primary care physician, but the idea what to bring to primary care physician, what actually possible, I think that's, please give us some advice.
Yeah. So I like to make the distinction between, is someone deficient in a specific vitamin, a mineral, or do they need a supplement to improve a specific health outcome? So in terms of energy, fatigue, exhaustion, I also like to include vitamin D blood work and then B12. They have a wide range of what's considered normal. So typically for vitamin D, I shoot for levels above 50, and then for B12 levels above 500. Vitamin D is a precursor to a lot of hormones, and so potentially even melatonin. So you want to make sure that vitamin D levels are within normal range. For folks who have a hard time settling down, I tend to stay away from providing sleeping pills. Certainly, there are some folks who do really need it. Typically, they have more mental health conditions that aren't quite controlled, and so this can be a helper for them. But as people get older, if you take a look at some of the research for some of these sleeping pills, it can really cause issues with dementia, memory problems, gait instability. So then I have the conversation in around herbals or supplements. Some of my favorite ones are things that work on GABA, such as valerian root. Magnesium is really excellent. So magnesium glycinate, there's a lot of different forms, but magnesium glycinate is less likely to cause GI upset. And the way I like to do it is actually just go into an Epsom salt bath, especially if you've been exercising or it's a long day, create it as part of a ritual. Now that we're in fall, what's really wonderful, I like to drink tea at night. So have some chamomile tea. Chamomile tea is excellent for calming down the nerves. Some of the studies show that chamomile extract helped improve symptoms of general anxiety disorder. And so a lot of times if we're not getting an adequate amount of sleep, we could be anxious. And so really that can be super soothing. And yeah, those are some of my those are some of my go-to herbs: valerian root, chamomile, lavender is also really helpful.
The lavender in.
Yeah, anyway, honestly, some of the studies where they've done lavender diffuser, satchels by the bedside. Yeah, you can do ingest lavender. It's called Calm Aid. it's mixed with canola oil. So some people it doesn't sit well. But yeah.
Thank you very much. It was such a valuable information. I learned a
My
lot.
pleasure.
Really appreciate. And I recommend to our audience to check your social media channel on Instagram and the other sources what they can find. YouTube, your valuable advice. Thank you.
Thank you.